The other day, we had a commercial break. Your commercial came on. How cool is that?
Oh, that's
Long
awesome.
Snapper has and it's not like you and like 10 other guys. It's just you.
No,
How cool is that?
it's awesome. So they approached me, like Green and Sons approached me about it. Like the guys that own the track company, Bill Green's his name, great guy, like awesome. I went and met with him and stuff. He's like, hey, like I had this idea. He goes, like I've seen all this NIL stuff, but he goes, I saw your like Twitter thing about you coming back, and I love the Tommy Boy reference. It's like I think he goes, I got a great idea about like a joke to put. And he goes, I see all these NIL deals, and it's like, it's just like so and so endorsing a product. He goes, this one kind of has a tagline, and that's why I was all for it, because like you play off the 7th year, you're buying a product like a tractor that you got to get it to last. So it ended up being a perfect deal, and I loved it. And it's been great work with those guys.
What model did you get? I mean, did you get a tractor out of the deal?
Sadly, no, I didn't get a tractor, but I did get to take a picture next to one. So that was a good moment.
It was a cash transaction.
I'm not going to disclose anything, but
What brand of brake pads did it have?
I didn't know any brake pads. Sadly, no Callahan. They didn't make it.
If you actually got a tractor, would you do anything with it?
I would definitely drive a tractor around for fun.
Just drive around for fun?
Just drive around for fun. Growing up, my cousin,
legal?
Robinson's my last name, but my entire mom's side was born and raised in Italy. So like my grandparents, both of them came to America when they were like 20. So grew up, they have an acre with a garden. And then I have another cousin who has a ton of property and a tractor. So like growing up as a kid, like we'd always just drive around as kids in a tractor, because like you didn't have a driver's license. So you thought driving was like the coolest thing in the world. So definitely would take me back to my childhood.
Like Kate Stowe.
Yeah. I mean, Kate, that's why I actually asked him, I was like, you guys didn't want to approach like Kate Stover. Like it goes home on weekends in the summer and helps out at the family farm. They're like, no, we got this joke, like it's gonna be great, it's gonna be perfect.
He's not a Kubota guy anyway.
No.
He's a meat guy.
Brad, but what's more intriguing to me, even than despite the commercial, is how well you do the commercial. How much did you practice for that, or you feel like you're sort of a natural?
So that
read kind of thing.
So what was nice is I think it took like 3 or 4 takes. And they like blended it together. Like I think most of it's one take, and I think maybe like if I mess it apart, they like match together. The problem was I was talking too fast the first 2 times, and they're like, and the guy like behind the counter is like, just slow down a little bit, just slow down, like enunciate. So I was like, but it only took like 3-4 times max. So it was pretty quick and easy.
See, I disagree here. The thing that I find most intriguing is Deere, Massey, or Case. If you had to have a tractor, John Deere, Massey, Ferguson, Case IH.
I'm a Kubota man, dude.
We're getting into wow.
But we know
the weeds here.
Back to what you actually do on the field, not what you wish you could do in a field.
Yeah.
Has it thrown off your rhythm to have Seibert playing in the defensive secondary? We know he's been there a little bit during camp. Has it thrown off your rhythm to still be going to Ruggles but not have Seibert back there?
Not really. I miss him a lot. Like Jake was a guy that I hosted him on his official visit, and like we were really close. We brought in, like we're still close. So I do miss having him in the room as much. But it's funny because like all camp long, when we knew he was getting team reps, all the specialists would go line up on the sideline and just hype him up. I would talk trash to the receivers that he was going against. He's actually done like pretty well, and like he's picked it up quickly and stuff because he's a good athlete. But I do miss him, but hasn't really affected like rhythm and stuff like that.
But where do you get better in the off season at your position? What's the to-do list?
I mean, the thing about being a long snapper is it looks a lot different to me than it does to you guys, of how like I'm pretty hard on myself, but like I can, like, there's no such thing as a perfect snap. You'll never achieve it in my mind. It's not possible. It can always be better, and consistency is the hardest part. And what's good is I got to spend a week in San Diego this summer with like 15, 20 like NFL specialists, like, and I was the only college guy. These are all guys that are 4 to 5 year veterans. Like Matt Prater's I'm really close with Matt Prater. He's a 16-year veteran kicker and stuff. I knew him when he was with the Lions, but then I was with Joe Cardona, who's a Patriot snapper for 8 years, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Like, and you kind of just get to like what, even not just the snappers, but like the kickers and punters, because being a specialist is so mental. It's been great to like pick up on just like what have they learned in their 15 years in the NFL doing it at the highest level. It's been great. I talked to Liam before camp. He's crushing it with the Falcons. I talked to Drew the other night after his tackle and stuff. So it's like that's what I try to do. I try to absorb these guys that have moved past, like, this is an insanely high level, but they have moved past that. It's like, what have they done, and like what do they do to keep them like going? Because one of those things, like, you can't get complacent. You got to always find something. And Jake McQuaid played here, and he was actually at spring practice, but I've been back and forth like texting with him for a couple years now. And the one thing he told me, he goes, every day I go on the practice field, he goes, I pick one thing to get better at, like one thing to work on. He goes, you can't ever fix more than one thing. And that dude's been in the league for 12 years doing it, so I'm going to trust what he says, and I kind of just try to go with that mindset and pick one thing each day. And it's like, like I said, it's like I can always be better. It can always be a better snap.
So when you graded what you did last year,
Mhm.
were you not satisfied, or did you feel like you did the job to?
I did the job, but I can always, like that's one of the things, like I can always be better. Like I'll be happy with like a performance, but then after a game I'll be like, I'm happy with this game or I'm not happy with this game. But then Sunday comes and I'll go on the film and I'll be like, okay, I'll look this, and especially like when it comes to films, like I don't even just look at snaps. I'm like, I look at coverage and stuff because it's part of my job as a snapper. Is I have to snap first, that's the job, and then like I have to cover, and it's like, what could I have done here differently? Like what could have gone on here? So it's like I try to be really hard on myself, and it's a balance too, because it's like you do have to reward yourself for the good games and stuff, like the Rose Bowl, obviously a good game and stuff. Like you have to reward yourself for those games, but it's like I always just figure out, like I nitpick, and I'm like what can I do better? And that's part of the reason I have a good relationship with Coach Fleming, because of that, because I've been with him for 5 years, and like I rarely get compliments from him, but I don't expect that because we have such a good relationship. It's like he'll come at me hard, and I'm fine with that because he knows me well enough that he goes, I'll respond to that. So it's like it's been great like having him, and I want him to like come at me hard and like and be strict about it because I'm just trying to get better every single day.
Your mindset when you trot out there for the Rose Bowl,
Mhm.
the game-winning kick on the line. What's your mind? What do you remember about that moment?
I remember I talked to Jesse. It's one of those things we don't talk to Noah that much with that, but I talked to Jesse, and we figured out like, all right, ball's on this yard line, like how far back are we? And it's one of those. I talked to the O-line, just because like I'm the center of that protection, Jesse's the quarterback back there, but it's like I got to make sure these guys, and I'm just basically, it's one of those things. Like I talked with Coach Davis, said some stuff in the huddle, and it was finally like, hey, like guys, lock in, 2 seconds. All we need, 2 seconds, and it was kind of that. But it's one of those things, like the second, like this is every snap too. Is like I'll think about a snap on the sideline, but the second I jog out there to go, like it just all like it melts away, and I'm like, it's just like I'm snapping at practice, and you don't notice it, and that's what's crazy. And my brother was the first one who told me that, like when he started his first game, and he goes, I was really nervous, and then I crossed like the sideline, and then it just like you're just going out there to snap the football. You've done this 1,000 times, so yeah. It's really weird. It's like that kick won the Rose Bowl, was the game-winning kick. We knew that going out, but when I was out there, I was just trying to be calm, cool, and collective. Like I've done this a million times, so.
Yeah, last thing, you talked about this a second ago, about the perfect snap. What is the perfect snap? I mean, is it like a foot and a half off the ground, the lace is straight up, where the guy catches it, puts it down? I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
what is the perfect snap?
Like there's aiming spots and stuff, and it's laces out, trying to make the job in the holder, and it's like it's different because different holders like it in different spots, so that's what's great.
Yeah.
And it's a communication of like what different people want. Sometimes kickers even have input and stuff, and then for punt, it really depends on your punter and like and how they want it. Like Jesse's an Australian punter, so like he wants it a little bit higher up, more like stomach and stuff, and then speed factors in too. So it's like there's a lot of things like that factor in and are kind of nitpicky, but it's like, that's why you can always like be like, this one was like an inch off, I could be better. So it's stressful, but it's like it's a good kind of stressful because it's like it gives me something to work on every day. I'm not just out here like messing around, so it feels good to have always something like the day before. I'm like, all right, this was really good, but like, I can be better. I know I can be better. So.
You started off talking about a movie reference, and then Laces just brought me into it. You guys in the special teams unit ever watch Ace Ventura and view Ray Finkel as a cautionary tale?
So I've watched Ace Ventura. It's been years, but no, we do not. We stay away from the pop culture references in the film room. We definitely have a lot of those as specialists, but we stay away from it in the film room. That's not for me to decide. I would like to say I am, but it's one of those things like I just want to do like everything you do here at Ohio State. Like when you're at Ohio State, it's a job interview. Like the eyes are going to be on me just because I'm at Ohio State, but that's not even my focus right now. Like I have a dream, obviously. But my focus right now is it's not even like it's Notre Dame, but it's what's tomorrow's practice. Like, am I gonna have a punt day? Am I gonna have a field goal? I'm like, how can I be the best that day? And it's just kind of like next, like one thing at a time. Like, do I have those goals? Do I think about it? Yeah, but it's what's tomorrow's period, and like how can I be the best in tomorrow's period?
Do you think that you'll have to fight Liam for that honor of being the best in Ohio State history?
You know what? Liam was really good, and if I can be put in the same sentence as him, as both really good long snappers, that's all I care about. Is hey, like Liam was here, then Brad was here. We had two great long snappers, and that's all that matters to me.
Brad, you have a lot of praise for Coach Fleming for you, and you brought up Ryan Day. What is your relationship like with Ryan? You've been with him for a few years now, and just what is it like with him, the head coach?
So Coach Day's been great because I was here when he was an offensive coordinator, and I joke because like people ask me that all the time, like how's Coach Day, and like Coach Day's a great guy, but here's the thing. I can have a conversation with him if I need to. But it's one of those things like it's a smile, it's a nod in the hallway and stuff, and it's like he trusts me to do my job, and I'll go with that. But it's funny because like you say that, like we talked about the commercial earlier. He came up to me on one breakfast over the summer, and he goes, "Brad." I go, uh-oh, like, what's he talking to me? It's like 8 a.m. And he was like dying laughing because he'd heard my commercial on the way in. And like he talked to me about it for 20 minutes. And then just the other day at dinner, we sat and we talked. We had dinner together upstairs, and we talked about like Drew and Liam and like how the unit's doing. And it was good. So it's like I can go ahead and have a conversation with him. And he's been great. But it's one of those things. It's like I know he's very busy, and hopefully one of the benefits I can provide him is that he doesn't have to worry about me ever and doesn't have to talk to me. And that's what I try to provide him is that, hey, Brad's good. Don't gotta talk to him. He's gonna do his job. I don't need to say anything. And that's kind of how I leave it.
What would his reaction be if on a punt you go down, make the tackle, get ejected for targeting?
Oh, he'd be pretty livid with me. He'd be like, you sit in all these meetings. We go over tackling in all these meetings, and like he goes, that applies to you too. So, yeah, he'd be pretty upset. Yeah.
Is that something you have to think about?
Not really, because usually I've been blessed to be with really good punters that returns aren't always the biggest deal, and then also the gunners I've been paired up with have all been first round draft picks, so that's pretty like amazing to say. Like I run down the field with a first round draft pick, like in 2020 it was Chris Olave and Jamison Williams, and I'm trying to keep up with these guys, and it's like and I do get down there, like I like to think I get down there and help force fair catch and stuff, but it's like thankfully, like, I don't really, like, if I have to make the play, I'll make the play, but it's one of those things that's like, I just try to get down there and get my head in there. And I always joke, like, if I get blocked or, like, even, I've been double teamed before. I think, like, Michigan State double teamed or somebody did. And I'm like, if you're putting two guys on me, then someone else who is a known tackler that tackles for a living is going to be there unblocked. So it's one of those things that's kind of, I take pride in it, but I don't think about, like, the process.
Do you think that was a little Michigan State thing because you were at Michigan State before?
No, because the staff's changed so much since I've been there, and like even the players, like I think no one on that team was there when I was there now at this point. But yeah, I don't think it was anything to do with that. It's probably because it was late in the game and stuff.
Have you had any tackles to your name?
I think I am credited with a half a tackle against Akron, and then against Team Up North there was like a muffed punt, but it was like I don't know if that counts as a tackle these days, but
I'd probably say that counts.
yeah, I like to count it. When people ask me, I go, I got 1.5. I do say my answer is 1.5, but like technically, it's, who knows?
Jerry and Mike can get that bump to a full tackle.
They still haven't bumped me to 6'2" on the roster yet, and that's been a request for 5 years. So
Heights are the biggest controversy of camp, apparently.
Bradley, I couldn't believe that Ohio State had the Twitter the other day of the guys with the grades. I couldn't believe they didn't have one for you for 19th grade.
So they took those pictures, and I was already at work. So I work in the summer. I work 30 hours a week as a graduate research associate on a research lab team as part of my master's and PhD program. That's one of those things. Is I think they like were texting people like at 9 or 10 in the morning. I'm like, I've been at work since 7:45, so I was grinding away.
What is your master's PhD program?
So it's it's a kinesiology program, specifically exercise science, but then the research team on it does a lot with nutrition, specifically like low carb diets. And I have a nutrition degree, so like my role is exercise and nutrition, and it's 2 PhDs, 2 master's students, an undergrad, along with a PhD, and then my boss is a PhD, and we have an RD. So it's a team of about 7 or 8 people, and it's full-blown research. I'm hoping to have my name published in a research journal soon that we're finishing up, and we've been doing great research and doing a lot of different work, so I've been enjoying it, but it keeps me busy.
Is that something you see yourself going into a career in?
Originally, no. I had no intention of research, and academia is a weird place, but I really enjoy what I've been doing the past years. Like, my coworkers have been great. Like, the 2 PhD guys and my fellow, like, master students, like, those guys have been great because, it's a lot easier to work if you enjoy the people you spend the time with. And then you can just get more into the material. And it's like I've been enjoying like the actual stuff I've been researching and the stuff we're doing. Like I'm getting passionate about it. So it's one of those things like I'm gonna give this football thing a go, and then hopefully that works out. If not, I got like 5 different options that I can do. So that's one of those things I talk with my mom and dad. It's great to have options. So I'm blessed in that area.
What would be ideal post-football career look